I only really go out my front door to put a bin bag in the bin just outside the flat. And that's every few days.
This was Gavin Plumb discussing his obesity on a BBC show.
When I'm in pain, the pain gets so bad that I physically, it's crippling.
Gavin.
Look at the state of this guy, bro. Like, you're going on a BBC documentary, man, and look at how he's looking, look at his hair, bro. You're going on a BBC documentary, that's how I can tell that you're a doomer. You don't even bother to shave your head. You don't even bother to shave the front bit at the very least. You got strands of hair. What's wrong with this guy? And look at his neck. Look at it, look at this dude. Look at where his face. This is his chin. Look, his face is meant to be. Look at where my mouse is. This is where his face is meant to be. What's all this under your neck? What's all this, bro? Like, what are you playing at? Why your eyes are closed? Like, this man look.
Gavin Plumb was a man, said the prosecutor, whose
I don't know if you guys know about this story. This story is crazy, man. We're going to talk about this in depth. It's going to be a long one, guys.
concern over his own problems masked his vile treatment of women. He was obsessed with TV presenter
Look. This is what he's
Willoughby.
obsessed with. Look at her, right? Look at her. Take a look at her, okay? And take a look at him, bro. This is what he's obsessed with. This is the delusion. We're going to talk about all this, bro. Like,
masked his vile treatment
this is an incel case. It's an incel case, 100%. I'm going to tell you why.
of women. He was obsessed with TV presenter Holly Willoughby, but fantasy wasn't enough. He wanted the real thing and planned to kidnap, rape and kill her.
You hear that? You hear that? Kidnap, RAP 3 and K1LL.
tried to recruit accomplices.
Those accomplices were the police, bro. He's too dumb. He didn't know he was talking to the police.
He had thousands of pictures of Miss Willoughby. The prosecutor
It's actually 10,000, bro.
said he was going to abduct her at the home she shared with her husband.
What a joke.
Jurors were told Plumb revealed his plot in online voice messages.
Right.
Listen to this, guys. Listen to how he's talking.
Plan of action. I'll give you a brief rundown. Basically, we're going to hit it at night. Less traffic on the road, etc. Chloroform both of them. That way then they can both be easily restrained.
And to
Look how he's talking, bro.
help him restrain Miss Willoughby, he had this.
Hands are ankle shackles.
Listen to his voice, high-pitched voice. This low testosterone, autistic guy. Listen to his voice. I know that voice. That's an autistic, low testosterone voice.
I feel like Gavin Plumb.
Look at this guy, bro. Talking about we're gonna hit it at night. This guy thinks he's Lester from GTA 5. You remember GTA 5 where you had that fat neckbeard guy, and he was like the brains of all these heists. He was like the genius behind all these heists. This guy been playing video games thinking that he's some Lester from GTA 5. Oh, we're gonna hit it at night. What the hell are you talking about, bro? Chloroform them both. This dude is living in Disneyland. This is what I'm telling you about these guys, and I'm going to talk about this later and explain why he's so delusional. This guy think he's part of the SAS. Who dares wins, bro? You are not a master of espionage, bro. Like, what the hell is wrong with it? These guys are mentally deranged, man. You think it's that simple? You've been playing Metal Gear Solid, bro. Remember Metal Gear Solid, bro? Like, these guys are straight up. I mean, bro, you're autistic, man. Just stop it. You autistic guys need to just stop it, man. You need to stop it because you guys are the ones doing it. You autistic guys.
Restrained.
And to help him restrain Miss Willoughby,
Yeah, that's
he
gonna
had
work,
this.
right? Is that easy?
Hands are ankle
Dude
shackles.
is broke, man. He can't even afford, like,
I
look
feel
at
like
this shit.
Gavin
He got that shit from AliExpress.
Plumb posed a real threat to society. This wasn't just a fantasist, and our aim
He wasn't no threat. He's not smart enough,
goal
man.
was to show that he wasn't just a fantasist and to
Yeah,
show
he wanted to do it, but he could never execute
that he
it.
wasn't just having conversations online with like-minded individuals just
I was talking to the cops, man.
for fun.
In a chat room called Abduct Lovers, Plumb encouraged
this shit.
others to join his
Look at
plot.
this shit. A bunch of incels talking about how they want to abduct the opposite gender, and you do all kinds of obscene acts to them.
Holly Willoughby was his profile
Look
picture.
at him. Look at him. Look at him. You're never getting an attractive opposite gender. You're never getting one. You're sitting in a jail cell now for 15 years. He's recently been sentenced 15 years in jail at least.
He called himself Big Bear. Plumb was also the administrator of an online group for Holly Willoughby obsessives.
Look, he's an admin.
Some posted deep fake.
Welcome, this is the true group for real fans. Yeah, these are weird dudes, bro. I've seen these guys on the internet before. They got these obsessions with these celebrities, man. They look at these celebrities, they worship them. These are the same guys who buy OnlyFans and do all this shit. These guys, they can't get off the internet, bro. They got no career, they got no business, they got no prospects. They're low intelligence, they're autistic, and they're finished dudes. And that's why they do this. It's desperation.
Pornographic photographs
Look,
of
creating deep fakes. Who has the time to do that, bro? You out there creating deep fakes. You out there creating deep fakes of the opposite gender because they ain't got no nude pics on the internet. What the hell's wrong? These guys are straight up
the TV
weirdos,
presenter.
man.
Such pictures were made illegal last year.
I didn't even know it's
Third of
illegal.
the 10th, 20.
Look at him. Look at him. A fast slob. We finally shaved your head. Well done.
23. Holly.
Plumb, a security guard,
This guy looked like, Kane when he took off his mask. Kane from WWF when he took off his mask, bro. This is a hideous looking
was
guy,
arrested
bro.
after detailing his kidnap plot to an undercover
Hideous
cop
looking
in
dude,
the United
bro. Look at
States.
his head shape. What the hell is that?
The
Why your
officer
head looks like that? Your neck beard.
believed Plumb posed an imminent threat to Miss Willoughby.
Look, now busted him now. Check this out, guys.
You're under arrest for conspiracy to kidnap. Who? Holly Willoughby.
Who?
I'm not going to lie, she's a fantasy of mine. I mean, she's a fantasy of
Look. He just admitted it. Listen to this clown.
fantasy of mine. I mean, she's a fantasy.
Look, he couldn't help himself. He had to say it. He couldn't. He get excited when they mention the name Holly. Oh, Holly, she's a fantasy. He couldn't help himself, even in front of the police. He couldn't help himself. That's what these guys are like. They're like the pedos when you confront them, and when the predator catchers confront the pedos, and they just come loose. They admit they can't help themselves.
She's a lot crazy, she?
They can't even pretend they're not attracted to children, and this guy's a pedo as well. You're gonna find out.
Later, Plumb said he knew what police were after.
Guess what?
18 years ago, on the train to Stansted Airport, Plumb twice tried to abduct an air stewardess. He was carrying an imitation gun. He got a
The dude is broke buying imitation guns. Man.
suspended sentence. 2 years
Suspended sentence. He should have been put down at that point, bro.
later, he was jailed after confronting two teenage girls at work
You see that? He's a pedo, bro. Confronting two teenage girls at
in
work.
Harlow and
A
tying
lot of these guys are pedos, man. But he wasn't a hardcore pedo in the sense that he also had attraction to older people. But he was interested in young girls as
the
well.
hands of one of them. Plum's
It's all down to desperation, bro. Like, because when you're the kind of guy, and this is an incel type. And when I told you guys incel is a mentality, right? Incel is a mentality. What does incel mean? In the context of what I call an incel is a dude who he gets hurt by the fact that he can't attract the opposite gender of his liking. So that to him, he becomes obsessed over the issue that he can't attract the opposite gender of his liking. Because when it comes down to this guy find a partner, he had partners, he's gonna in this video, he had ugly partners before. The problem was they were 2 or 3 out of 10 in looks. That's the problem. And he couldn't accept that. It's like incel is like a lack of an ability to accept that you can't get an attractive partner. There's plenty of guys who don't get an attractive partner, but it's not a major factor of their life because they come to terms with it. They can accept it. What makes these guys, these incels, the way that they are is they can't accept their reality and they become obsessed because they have autism. Many of them, most of them, if not many, but most, they have autism. This guy is definitely on the autism spectrum, and that's why they are so obsessed with that issue.
Spent most of his time at home playing online games, according to
You
a
see that? You see that? Look at his room. Look at his room, bro. Look. He spent most of his time playing online games. That's a big part of the problem.
former girlfriend who'd followed the
You hear
trial.
that? You hear that former girlfriend? We're gonna see her in a second, but let's talk about this gaming and this Ghostbusters and all. So you look at his room, right? You see Ghostbusters. You see, I don't know what the hell that is, or is that Star Wars? I don't know, but all that stuff is all fantasy, bro. Ain't nothing real about this guy. Video games. What is the problem with video games? Video games, anime, adult content, OnlyFans, comic books, and even movies, depending on what kind of movie you're watching, they all heighten your fantasy. Okay, they all keep you in a what? In a fantasy world. It's not the real world. When you play these video games, you indulge and you go into what? You go into a fantasy world. Okay, so when you're an individual who has mental illness, okay, you're an individual who has mental illness, the worst thing you can do is take yourself out of the real world and start indulging in a fantasy world. He's not the only guy to do this. There was another guy who in America tried to kidnap some WWE wrestler. He actually went outside their house. I think he even got in the house, but the girl just ran away. I don't think he actually got hold of her, but he had the equipment. He was ready to kidnap her, and he got into the house. The interview is on YouTube. There's men out there who believe in this. Because why? Because they're playing too much video games. Look, he's talking like Lester from GTA 5, exactly like him. I remember that because I played that game over 10 years ago. I remember, and he's talking like, because why? Because he's playing all these video games. The guy's probably playing Counter-Strike. Counter terrorists win, terrorists win. When you're taking people hostage and you rescue the hostages, the terrorists take hostages. This guy probably thinks it's real. I mean, this is the problem. Like these video games, there's people out there going out and replicating. And this is why I say GTA 5 or GTA 6 that's going to release, I think next year, is going to trigger a massive crime wave because people are going to play it and it's going to be so realistic. People are going to start to mimic what they see because video games make you feel like you're untouchable. It puts you in a fantasy world. Now, the more realistic video games get, the more dangerous it becomes because it becomes more difficult to distinguish the realism from the real world from the fantasy world. I mean, the video games are getting so realistic nowadays that it's a problem. It's a problem. It's not like back in the old days of Space Invaders or Mario, Super Mario. That shit is not, it has nothing. It's nothing alike the real world. But nowadays, yeah, video games is a problem. Anime is a problem. Comic books, all that shit that he's invented. OnlyFans. You got guys out there. He's an OnlyFans subscriber. You know, he's an OnlyFans subscriber, and that's the thing. He's into that stuff. I know he is. Because that's how they indulge in their little fantasies. They indulge in their fantasies, they subscribe to these channels, and they think, I'm gonna date this chick. And these chicks who are going on OnlyFans, don't be angry when a guy shows up at your door with a pair of handcuffs and a rope and is trying to kidnap you. Don't be surprised because you're putting yourself out there to these kind of guys. I hope you OnlyFans girls realize what you're doing. You're putting yourself out there to these kind of guys. They will become obsessed. You know, they will become obsessed, and they cause a lot of problems, these people. And this is the thing, man. Like, society got a lot to blame for this as well. Society always pushing opposite gender, hot chicks, hot chicks, hot chicks, everywhere in front of you. You know, earlier today I was on YouTube, and I was just on YouTube on the home page, and what does it show me? As some big ass coming right in front of me, some volleyball player, and it's showing a chick with a big ass. I'm like, bro, I didn't even watch volleyball. What is the hell is this? Why is it coming? Some beach volleyball player. This is what they do. They're always trying to keep your mind opposite gender, opposite gender, opposite gender. All these platforms, and the internet has made it way worse, bro. The internet has made it way worse. Now, all guys are seeing opposite. Even if you try to avoid it, they throw it at you. It's like they're forcing you to look at these chicks. And it is very harmful, especially to guys who are incel dangerous men, bro. Incel are dangerous men. I know some incel trolls like, oh, we're not dangerous. Well, yeah, you are dangerous because these guys are not even categorized as incels. Most incels are too dumb to execute their. I know about a lot of these stories. A lot of these stories, incels, they don't even execute what they're trying to do, right? They don't even execute it, so you don't really hear about it. But there's a lot of guys doing this shit. There's a lot of guys doing this shit, bro. When I say a lot comparatively speaking to what you might think.
It really has shocked me, to be fair,
Look,
because that's not the person that I know.
look
He
at
never
what he's
showed
dating. Look at what he's dating, bro. Look at the state of this one.
any
Just as ugly as he is.
signs when I knew him.
Dating twos and threes.
None whatsoever.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy, right? He was a good guy back then. Look, Ellie Hold, you were desperate. You were a desperate, okay, loser. You couldn't get any men based on your physical look. You don't even try. Like, look at your appearance, fat as hell, looking haggard. You just want some money from. I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, just look at you. Look at your fat face and listen to what she said.
So the fact that he's gone like this, it's
No, he was always like that. Holly Willoughby's been on TV for decades, and he didn't develop that, recently. He developed that, but you just didn't see it because you're desperate. You're desperate. You turn a blind eye. When people are desperate, they turn a blind eye. That's why you don't get into a relationship when you got no options. I'm gonna speak about that more with Never Give Up. I'm gonna speak about because I'm not finished with that guy. I know he's scared of me, but I'm not finished with him. I got at least one more to do on him.
I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, you're innocent, right? You're innocent. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her, bro. And compare this to, look, let's put both of them on the screen, right? At the same time, bro. Like, look at this, what's going on here, bro.
Accomplices.
Let's put both of them on the screen. Come on, now there's no comparison, bro. Look at the state of this. I mean, this is what I'm telling you, man. Ugly chicks are also bad, man. They're always dating and reproducing. We're going to talk about that more because this guy has a kid. I've got another video to play. Always reproducing with these ugly dudes. Always. And these incel type dudes, let me tell you something about incel, right? These incel type dudes, when you're an incel, okay, it means that you don't have, in their mind, see, in the mind of an incel, they commit these acts out of desperation. And a lot of it has to do with money because it has to do with money and low intelligence. If he had the money, okay, what he would do would be probably he would go out and pay high-end escorts. Okay, he would go out and pay high-end escorts and he would do like a little kidnapping role play with them. Right? That's what he would do if he had the money. He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the money to attract. He doesn't have the money to be a sugar daddy. He doesn't have the money even to get any kind of attractive partner anyway. Don't matter whether it's, escorts, sugar baby, going overseas and, putting his money. He can't do anything. He works in security. He's barely scraping by. He's broke, and he is in a situation of complete desperation. And in his mind, the only way he can ever gain access to an attractive partner he knows he can't date them, but is to kidnap them, tie them up, and indulge in his sick fantasies. This is why it's a desperation. When you become these incel type guys, you've sank to the lowest depth you can sink as a man. You can't sink no lower than that. I mean, committing seppuku is more honorable, than doing that. There's nothing more dishonorable than doing that. But this is the inside the mind of an incel. Now, of course, you got certain incels that are more extreme. This on the extreme end. I'm not saying all of these guys who have an incel. Remember, incel is a mindset, right? Because this guy could get 2s and 3s. So technically, nobody's an incel because there's prostitution. There's 2s and 3s that even the most hideous men can get with 2s and 3s. So but that's the thing. So there's always something available, but the 2 and 3 is never going to satisfy any guy. No guy is happy with a 2 or 3, but some guys just settle with it because at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal to them. But with incels, it's such a big deal to them because they have autism and autistic people are obsessive. It's such a big deal to them, and that's why they go to such extremes to acquire it.
Plumb's neighbours rarely saw him, but one heard him.
You'd hear conversations occasionally in the garden. Sometimes there was sort of unusual conversations that I thought would reference gaming and all that, and I thought that he was sort of building a gaming forum, but actually...
it could be either way, you don't know, because gaming has, hostages and kidnappings. Gaming has that as well.
It seemed maybe it was alluding to something else, so I just sort of, it was a bit strange at the time. You didn't think at the time that was anything untoward until sort of this all came out on the news.
During the trial, the prosecutor didn't read out aloud the worst of the language Gavin Plumb used to describe what he wanted to do to Holly Willoughby. It was so depraved, said the prosecutor, it could have breached Miss Willoughby's legal right to privacy and might even have contravened the Obscene Publications Act. The detective in charge urged chatroom providers to get rid of such content.
I'm pretty sure that the social media companies that have a responsibility for the spaces that they own, they could have found the group called Abduct Lovers and taken steps to close it down and report to authorities.
These are sick freaks, bro. These are absolutely sick freaks. But they're in a completely different situation to normal men like me or you watching. Mentally they're not the same. They're not as intelligent, and their fantasies just, I don't even think about that kind of stuff. But it's like when you got that kind of mind, bro, you shouldn't even be born. A lot of it's comes down to the parenting. It comes down to how they were brought up and what they were given at birth. Some men are just, there's no reason for. I can tell the fact that this guy comes from a low class background. Like, why do you need to keep having kids? And we don't want to talk about the real root of this. The root of this is there's too many low value people having kids. He has kids himself. We're going to talk about that in the next video. He has kids himself. I don't think he sees them. I don't think he has any connection to them, but he has them.
Good morning and welcome to your Wednesdays this morning.
The host of ITV's This Morning show, Holly Willoughby, knew nothing of the alleged plot, but quit her job soon after.
We're going to move on. We're going to move on to the next one now. We're going to move on to the next one. Check this out, guys. Check this out. Interview with the mother of his kids. You don't need to see this again. Actually, did we see this before? Saw the police come in.
What's going on?
Look at him. Look at him. Look how fat he is.
Right, you're under arrest on suspicion of conspiracy to kidnap. You do not have to say anything.
What is going on?
Listen to what you're saying.
Do you believe he would have carried out the attack? Absolutely.
Look at this. Look at how she looks again. Again, look at the looks here.
Yeah, there's just no doubt about it. If it weren't going to be that poor woman, it would be somebody else.
You're not innocent, bro. You're not innocent at all. You're having kids with this dude. You say, I've seen his darkest side, he's a monster, but yet you're having kids with him. And I know you're going to absolve yourself, oh, he was a good guy before. He was never no good guy. This takes a long time to get to this point. That's why you don't see guys who are 19, 20, 21 years old doing that shit. It's mainly guys in their 30s and 40s that do this shit because it takes a long time, a build up to get to this point. You don't just come out of high school or come out of university thinking I'm going to start abducting. No, this is years upon years upon years of living that life, bro, that gets you to that point.
I think I was 5 when I met her, to be honest. I feel ashamed for Gavin, to be honest, for what he's done.
Mention one question, something which later on in court, anything you do so make you
Can you tell me what you're talking about? You're getting your Dubai, right?
The necessities for the arrest are to allow for a prompt and effective investigation by interview and to prevent any further physical harm to children.
Essex Police.
To who? Can you please explain to me what the hell is going on?
So, at the moment, you're under arrest for conspiracy to kidnap.
Who?
We already seen this shit. We don't need to see this again. I thought I played. The ads come back after a while. I don't know how long it is, but
Worst thing about it, she's a stranger to all of us. She's just a lady we watch on telly.
Look, I can tell by the way this moron speaks. You're another fucking retard just like him. You're not much better than him. I mean, if you were a man, you probably would be. I mean, opposite gender don't do that kind of stuff. But if you were a man, you'd probably be like him. I don't see you as much better than him because you're reproducing with him. At the end of the day, I mean, you're talking like you're some nice lady and just F off. Just F off. You come on the sun to make a bit of cash because you're broke as shit. I can tell just by looking at you. You're broke. You have no standards, you have no morals, and you're bringing kids into the world that don't stand a chance, and you come on here asking for sympathy. No, I don't have any sympathy for you. Why you need to have kids? You know that you're bottom of the food chain. You know that you're trash. You know that you're hideous. But yet you're out there having kids. I'm going to stop because I see this the root cause of the problem. There's a lot of people who are here that don't need to be here. Why are they here for? This man, Gavin Plumb, even if he didn't become a murderer or an alleged, he didn't actually murder, but even if he didn't become a criminal who wanted to kidnap and murder an RAP3 Holly, he would still be a nuisance. He would still be, I mean, what's the point of people like that being on the earth? Can you tell me what's the point of them being here? There's too many people out there reproducing. For what? For what? There's no reason for it.
He's never even spoke to any of us.
Because you don't care, because you don't find you attractive, and you're too dumb to realize that. Ugly opposite gender are a big part of the problem as well. Ugly opposite gender really think that these guys like him. No, they don't. These guys don't like you. They just with you because they can't get anything else.
She was completely innocent in all this. She's gone through all that.
People don't talk about that. People talk about guys who are putting their money down and getting chicks, like these old guys who get with these young girls, but they don't talk about the fact that ugly girls are not liked either. Ugly girls are with these guys because they don't have any other options.
So, yeah, I just don't know what to say really. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting, and you are too. You had a kid with the dude.
Listen to what my colleague's got to say. Right, you're under arrest on suspicion of conspiracy to kidnap. You do not have to say anything.
What is going on? Listen to what you're saying.
I don't know why they keep playing the same thing, bro.
Obviously, you'll find out when everything's planned, etc. So, yeah, we'll go from there.
Wait, let me just...
Back on track for once. Obviously, you'll find out when everything's planned, etc.
Like, bro, you don't sound convincing. You sound like an autistic child. I mean, bro, like, you can never get anywhere in the working world either. Like, you can't get... Like, this guy could never get anywhere in life. He's a finished man. I know about finished men. I've been talking about them for more than half a decade on YouTube. He's finished. This man can't get nowhere. He was never going anywhere, and that's why he did what he did, because he knew he's finished. But men need to put their hands up and accept that they're finished, and realize that, you know, the fault is that they were born in the first place. Stop blaming society, you know. Stop blaming the opposite gender and accept that the problem is that you were born in the first place, and your goal should be saying, okay, let's try and prevent people like us being born. That should be your goal. If you do that, you may find some fulfillment out of it. But what you're doing right now is just a destruction. It's a path to destruction. You're going to sit in jail for 15 years. Okay, you can't defend yourself in the jail. Fat boy, hey, fat boy, slap him up, beat him up, you know, steal his dinner. I mean, I don't know what they do in the jails, but, you know, I know it's not going to be pleasant for him.
etc. So, yeah, we'll go from there. Hands or ankle shackles, ring and ball gag, 3 lots of rope.
I mean, if this guy showed up to my house, bro, with all that stuff, I would not even be intimidated, bro. Like, just by looking at him and how he speaks.
Metal cable ties, 2 sets of handcuffs, 1 set of ankle.
Quite a long time ago I met him. I was about 12.
What?
I met him through my sister. They went to the same school. They were friends. We ended up good friends, and then we went on from
This
there.
person seems slow. Listen to how she talks, bro. Like, she's mentally challenged as well. I mean, what are the kids? I mean, these kids are finished. They don't stand a two mentally challenged parents. Like, are you kidding me?
So when would you say you first started dating him,
She's
and what
clearly
kind of
mentally
did you like about
challenged,
him?
bro. Like,
Dated him a few years later.
this dude.
Well, his personality was
Fat
lovely at
man
the
in a
beginning.
Batman
Really
shirt.
kind, not generous, but he was
Speed
a
this
good
shit up, bro.
person
We need to be
from
all
what I
day.
could see. But you don't really know somebody until you've actually dated them. About 8 months into the relationship, that's when I noticed things, because he'd start getting inside my head to begin with and making me feel bad about myself, telling me nobody would want me and making me feel like I'm nothing. And making me feel
Well,
like I
does anybody want you? I mean, I don't think they do. I mean, I'm just keeping it real.
needed him.
Ugly chicks need to get real, bro. Like, a lot of ugly chicks are delusional. I noticed that as well.
And did you ever see any kind of violent side to him at all?
Not at the beginning, but then yes, he ended up. He started off the controlling. I weren't allowed to spend money on myself or anybody without spending money on him. When I had cravings with Sam.
This is at 1.5 speed and it's slower than normal speed. So, like, this person is mentally challenged.
I went and I bought myself chocolate without buying him some. And then he started getting violent actually before then. We hit him.
Mentally challenged people should not be having kids. Like, what is wrong with people?
Me and that, so he got worse.
They're so selfish. They're so, you know, ego-driven that they want to reproduce. What do you want to reproduce for?
Did you fear for your life at any point when you were with him?
Yeah, all the time. I used to crouch down in the corner and that, with him raising his hand. And that's so I was absolutely...
Okay, and did you inform the authorities, dummy? Did you inform the authorities? No, you didn't. You didn't, did you, idiot?
Petrified, but I felt like I was on my own. So I felt like there's
we
no
always
easy
give
way out.
excuse to the opposite gender. There's no excuse, man. Because you're desperate. You're desperate. You can't get nobody out there on the market.
And when he did attack you, what was it like? Was he
Two desperate people shouldn't get with one
Did he
another.
apologise after?
It's not good.
After he calmed down, he apologised, but he was enjoying the power way too much. He would tower over me.
What power does he have? You know, what power does he have?
And he'd enjoy his smirk and laugh, seeing me cower. And then later on he'd apologise, like he's done nothing wrong, and then it would just keep repeating.
Yeah, and you believed it. And they say, oh, I'm a victim of abuse. They always say that dumb shit. You could have informed the authorities. You're partially responsible. You're partially responsible with this guy. I mean, would it have made a difference? I don't know, but you could have informed the authorities.
He just kept getting away with it, and that is because we was
Because
in a
you let him
relationship,
get
and
away
that
with
it was
it.
called domestic between us two. And yeah, so it never went anywhere.
And
Look at him.
injuries that you have, what would he do to you?
He'd punch me, kick me, insult me, made me feel isolated. I didn't really speak to my family much, and now I didn't really end up speaking to my friends.
What's the point saying it now? What's the point saying it now after the guy has already been like, well, I don't think was jailed at this point, but I mean, he was in custody.
He made me feel like I was alone, and I had absolutely nobody.
At the moment, you're under arrest for conspiracy.
And to be straight with you, I wasn't surprised. The only bit I was about the murder bit, because even though it nearly hurt me, he's never mentioned the word murder before. But the rest of it, I wasn't surprised at all. He enjoys the power, and this is the new Gavin, and it's terrifying.
Why do they keep saying this is new? He always been like that. It just gets worse over time, but he always been like that. This guy been obsessed with Holly for decades, man. I mean, why is he trying to pretend like this guy weren't always? Just because you didn't see it doesn't mean, you see, you're so dumb you can't even think now, okay, that happened and back then, and now I'm starting to connect the dots as to he was even like that back then. You're so dumb you can't even connect the dots. I think that's it, man. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We've seen all this, so yeah, man, it's been a long video. You know, that's my analysis, bro. This is an incel case, 100%. You know, everybody knows that when it comes to incels, man, I know about these guys. I know about these incels because I've known about them since 2016. And I started making videos about them since like 2018. So I'm quite knowledgeable on these guys, and I understand the mentality. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you aren't already, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you're informed every time I upload a new video.